Wisconsin senators are split on the DHS funding bill that we'll be voting on later this week. Democrat Tammy Baldwin says, quote, ICE and DHS are out of control and making our communities less safe. I will not support funding for DHS without clear accountability and stronger controls over the agency. It is time for the Senate to do its job and rein in this lawlessness. Wisconsin's Republican Senator Ron Johnson feels differently. Today on X, he said in part, quote, Minnesota Democrats are inciting violence and obstruction of federal law enforcement. Now, Senate Democrats are threatening to defund the very agency tasked with cleaning up their mess. I will oppose any efforts to defund DHS.
Right now, Wisconsin and 18 other states have filed a brief in support of Minnesota's lawsuit against the Trump administration and the deployment of ICE and Border Patrol in the state. According to the filing, Wisconsin and the other states have a, quote, strong interest in making sure federal immigration enforcement isn't used as an excuse to infringe on state sovereignty. Governor Tony Evers says, quote, it's clearer than ever that this has nothing to do with public safety. And as states, we have a responsibility to stand up and say no more. The presence of federal agents in Midwestern communities has become a topic on the campaign trail in Wisconsin. The person who succeeds Governor Tony Evers will decide how much our state works with federal agencies.
Today, Republican Representative Tom Tiffany called the shooting of Alex Preddy tragic. Take a listen to what he told reporters.
We need to see the investigation in regards to this, and from a couple news blurbs that I saw this morning coming out of Washington, D.C., it sounds like those investigations are coming and they will be completed.
Reporters asked Tiffany if he agrees with White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, who referred to Preddy as a, quote, an assassin. Tiffany said he has not seen those comments or the Department of Homeland Security's statement, which accused Preddy without proof of planning to, quote, massacre law enforcement. The other prominent Republican running for governor is Washington County Executive Josh Schoeman. He hasn't made any public comments about the shooting, so I reached out to his campaign. Within the past hour, they got back to me. Schoeman says, quote, I agree with Tom Tiffany's call for an investigation, and I'm praying for our neighbors and peace in Minnesota.
There are 7 prominent Democrats who are running for governor. They have all condemned the shooting, and some candidates, like State Senator Kelda Roys, have gone further and called for ICE to be abolished. Take a listen to what Roys said over the weekend.
Every one of us needs to stand up and say, no, not in our name. We do not allow this ICE to exist. We need to defund them. We need to disarm them. We cannot allow this violent force to occupy us and make us all less safe.
State Representative Francesca Hong is also calling for ICE to be abolished. She says, quote, the federal government is attempting to gaslight the American people with statements that contradict video evidence and eyewitness accounts. This has to stop. ICE is an enforcer of fascism that must be abolished and those responsible for the executions prosecuted.
Other Democrats who are running for governor aren't going as far, but they are strongly condemning federal law enforcement. Former Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes says, quote, agents operating in masks, killing people with no accountability is pure lawlessness. They need to be unmasked and investigated. Democratic and Republican governors alike should come together to stand with Governor Walz and against this violence being inflicted in all of our states. The current Lieutenant Governor, Sarah Rodriguez, has proposed banning ICE from arresting people in courthouses, schools, and places of worship. She says she thinks the federal government is failing right now. Take a listen.
A federal government that puts its own people in harm's way has failed its most basic responsibility. And I will never look away when the government gets this wrong. We have a choice about who we are and what we stand for. I believe in safety without cruelty, accountability without fear, and dignity for every human being.
Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley says he's, quote, shaken and outraged by Preddy's death. He says, quote, it is time to stop pretending that large-scale immigration enforcement operations in Midwestern communities are about public safety. People, regardless of immigration status or how federal authorities choose to define them, are in danger when ICE operates this way in our neighborhoods. Missy Hughes, Wisconsin's former economic development director, is blaming President Donald Trump and calling the shooting un-American. Take a listen to what she said on Saturday.
There is one person who is responsible for this and one person who's able to stop it immediately, and that's Donald Trump. This is at his feet and he has to stop it. He's responsible for what's happening. It is disgusting. It is un-American, and it has to stop today.
Joel Brennan, a former Department of Administration secretary, says he believes what's happening in Minneapolis is an occupation. He says, quote, in a time of great darkness in our country, clear and bright lines still exist between right and wrong, between peace and injustice. And we have seen uniformed and masked agents of the federal government cross those lines time and again. The occupation must end in Minneapolis.